Ethan, joining the show now is the treasurer of Danbury FCI. Pat Wynn joins us on the show. Hey, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
How you doing, guys?
We're doing great. So I want to just establish some background here. We spoke to a representative from your union back in December of 2021 about claims made by the union that the prison is understaffed. We saw the awesome sign that you guys put up on Route 37 about the dangerously understaffed federal prison ahead. And I forget who we talked to. Was it Robert or Sean?
No, well, you probably spoke to both, but that interview that you're referencing was Robert Kernan. That's the locals president.
Yeah. Excellent. So now you guys got a lot of press about claiming that you're dangerously understaffed. So then there was, and you can stop me at any time if I'm wrong about any of this.
Yep.
There was a scheduled tour for Senators Richard Blumenthal and Chris Murphy yesterday, and they came by and they claim they were denied access to certain areas in the prison and denied access to the inmates themselves. Murphy said it's clear that a decision was made to stop them from seeing some of the conditions in the prison. How do you respond to that?
Well, yeah, so the entire executive board of the union, you got about 6 people on the executive board, toured with the congressman. But earlier, if you get back to that sign quick, yeah, the sign went up first. That created a ton of feedback from the community, local state leaders, and obviously our federal counterparts, the senators that actually oversee the Bureau of Prisons. So, yes, they did come into the institution. They were not allowed to go to the federal satellite low institution, which houses low-security female inmates. And then once we got into the federal correctional institution, which is the low-security men's prison, they also denied them access to the housing units where the inmates were under the guise of COVID. And that's where Senator Murphy was extremely displeased because the whole reason for him coming was to speak to staff about the understaffing issues and also see the effects of COVID on the actual institution itself.
When you say they denied the senators access, who are we referring to and who makes that call?
The administration, the executive staff here at Danbury, the warden is the CEO here, so she actually made the call to not allow the U.S. senators into the housing units.
So there was a group decision made before their arrival?
Before their arrival, right. There was a pre-schedule or how would you say, a tour was set up where the senators wanted to go. So the union did their best to try to have them go into a couple housing units because that's what they wanted to see. They wanted to meet with some of the staff to actually talk more about the understaffing issues, the low staff here at Danbury.
And when you say they were denied access, it was COVID reasons, that was for their safety? Is that what the prison's saying?
Yes.
Okay.
They said to help the spread of COVID is what they were
Did they know that before they arrived at the prison?
Who, the senators?
Yes.
No, they thought that they were going to have access to these housing units, which they should have access to the housing units. Again, you got to remember, Senator Murphy, like you said yesterday, is on the Appropriations Committee who frees up money for federal agencies. And Mr. Blumenthal is actually on the Judiciary Committee that is oversight for the Federal Bureau of Prisons and I believe the entire Department of Justice. So they should be allowed access to any points of that prison.
Forgive me, Pat. I'm confused now. Is there a divide in the prison as to what they should? It sounds like you wanted them to have access.
Correct. The union wanted them to see the way the prison operates during a pandemic.
Oh, okay.
We wanted them to have access to our staff so that they could see exactly how it feels when we're understaffed.
So it sounds like there's
for example, the unit that they were able to look inside of, the officer in the unit at the time was not an actual correctional officer. His actual full-time job at the prison was a correctional counselor who's responsible for, inmate releases, setting up halfway houses, legal calls, stuff like that.
So it sounds like there's a divided house. On the one side, you have the 2 senators and the union, and on the other side, you have the warden and the administrative staff?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I guess you could put it that way. I mean, the senators don't pick a side. They just want the prison to run efficiently.
Right.
But since they were denied access, they were a little upset, and it kind of makes it look worse up here because, in their eyes, they're trying to hide something. And I don't understand why they're trying to hide something. I'm not saying anything bad about the executive staff. I mean, we do the best we could up here to separate inmates and keep them away from each other during a pandemic. But again, it's a prison environment.
Are the folks
no one's doing anything wrong. The senators should be able to see this.
Right. Are the folks who denied the senators access, are they themselves union members?
No, that's executive staff is management.
Okay.
No, the bargaining unit is the boots on the ground, the correctional officers, the correctional counselors, the maintenance people. That's your bargaining unit.
So if the union had to do it all over again, they would love to get the senators access to the entire prison. So what do you say about the safety issues then? How would you go about doing that, keeping them safe from COVID?
Well, the social distancing. I mean, we wear masks and stuff. And the units that we were going to bring them into, let me get back to that point. The units that we were going to bring them into weren't positive case units. They were inmates that have been tested, and they tested negative. So those units, we weren't going to take them into a unit that was, where there was positive cases. We do separate the inmates. If an inmate comes up positive, there's special housing units to put them in.
Is there a system in place to appeal this decision by the executive staff to get these senators access to the inmates in certain parts of the prison?
I'm not sure how they do it. I know that I don't know what phone calls Murphy and Blumenthal are making today, but they were extremely displeased with the tour yesterday.
Yeah, when you say displeased, what can you paraphrase what Murphy said?
Kind of exactly what he said. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but kind of what he said in that press conference was that he was extremely displeased that a sitting U.S. senator was unable to access the federal prison that he oversees in his state.
Was he visibly angry?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. What about Blumenthal? Was he visibly angry?
Yes.
Okay.
Both were visibly angry.
Pat,
I'm sure they're going to make decisions today between their staffers and stuff. They said they're going to contact the DOJ and find out. Like I said yesterday, this isn't on the warden.
Okay.
Decisions like that, to in my opinion, to deny a U.S. senator came from above the warden.
Okay.
Wow.
And one more important...
senators have to deal with on their level.
Pat Wynn, treasurer for Danbury FCI. One more important question. It seems that the folks that we've talked to over at Danbury FCI so far all happen to be Ethan Alou fans. Are any of the prisoners fans of our show?
I'm sure they are. There's many times where I walk through the housing units and they get headphones and stuff, and I hear in the background it cranking through. So I'm sure some of the inmates are listening to it.
I can't believe you asked that.
We've always
they
wanted
get access to radios and stuff and the news, so they know what's going on. It's not.
Well, I'd like to shout out
access to the media.
I'd like to shout out the prisoners and let them know that for years I've wanted to come there and do a live show, bring them stand-up comedians and broadcast the radio show live from Danbury FCI.
I don't think they'll allow that.
Probably.
Ethan and Lou, that would be great if you were able to do that right out in the middle of the compound, but I highly doubt the administration would allow that.
Out of the question.
All right, well, we gave it a shot. Hey,
yeah, exactly. We'd love that too, but I wouldn't even request that from the administration. They just laugh at me.
Pat Wynn is the treasurer over at Danbury FCI. He's a union member. Let me see if I got it right. AFGE Local 1661, correct?
Correct, and we fall under the Council of Prison Locals 33. We represent all the bargaining unit members nationwide for the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
Pat, we appreciate you
Thank you
clearing
so
things up
much,
for
Pat.
us.
All right, guys. Anytime you need to talk about anything, give us a call.
Okay, we got your number. Thank you.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I misunderstood where the divide was until we spoke to Pat, so I'm glad we did. I assumed it was the senators versus the prison, but it sounds like there's a divided house over at the prison between the union and the management staff.
Did you hear?
That's what you got, right?
Yeah, but did you hear what Pat was telling us? That they weren't going to let the senators in to parts of the prison where there were COVID patients or people who are going through quarantine. They were going to let them in sections where there was no COVID. So what's the deal with the administration?
Yeah.
That they wouldn't let them do that?
It's interesting. But I've kind of moved on into what can I get the prisoners? Shout out to our prisoners listening this morning at Danbury FCI. What can we get them to say all day that could be annoying? You know, I got an idea. We'll have them.
Oh, I'm sure you've got an idea.
Well, everybody flick your own nipples. Let's all do that together as a group. Pew, pew, pew. Maybe they could shout, "Party people," or they can go like this. If you could just, Maestro, if you could, please put this up, and then we'll have them saying this.
Go.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
Listen, if Metallica can go into a prison like they have several times, Johnny Cash can go into a prison and do a performance. I think we are very Metallica, Johnny Cash-esque. I think we should be allowed to go into FCI when COVID, takes a break. And we do the morning show live, and we bring some stand-up comedians and some live music with us, and we break each other's backs. I broke my back.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Spinal.
Yeah, I would like to do that as well, but I don't think it's going to happen. Hate to be a naysayer.
To all our prisoners.
I broke my back.
Okay, excellent.